magic and sorcery.
Yes.
What's the difference?
Well, there are occultic mediums. There are occultic mediums of what in philosophy is called metaphysics.
Okay.
Where people are able to have access to some form of esoteric knowledge that is not accessible to the normal human being.
Okay.
So these are mediums. These are various kinds of mediums, magic and sorcery. Some have been codified into books.
Okay.
People are able to read. They have their various rituals, and they are able to have access to knowledge that is not applicable to the normal senses.
Hi, this is the first production in this year, and today we are starting with spirituality. We want to learn about Africa, Ghana, our tradition, our religion, our spiritual system. So I'm in the University of Ghana, Institute of African Studies, and I'm with Mr. Matthew. I'd like him to introduce himself, and then we'll set it rolling. Hi, Mr. Matthew, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we all like to know you.
Yes, so I'm Matthew Sefa Japan, an MPhil student at the University of Ghana, reading African Studies with concentration in African traditional religions.
So now, as you can all see, you are the right place, right? MPhil means
Masters in Philosophy.
Masters in Philosophy. All right. So growing up in Africa, like as a kid growing up in Africa, what did you know about African spirituality? Like how you were spiritual as a kid, growing up from your home, your parents, your grandparents and all that, like an ancestry. How was it?
Okay, so I grew up in a very traditional African society.
Okay.
Even though predominantly we are Christians, there are elements of traditional African activities where I grew up.
Okay.
So yes, sometimes you see people going to church, and after church they go to the shrine.
Okay.
As a young person, I've seen and experienced some of these things.
Wow.
So much as they identify as Christians, they still identify as traditional Africans who visit their shrines in times of need. So I've been very lucky to see these aspects of traditional African life growing up in Africa, and that has really shaped my understanding of African spirituality, Christianity, and other faiths.
Okay. So what you just said reminded me of Benny. I was in Benny Wida, the snake temple.
Okay.
And they were like, the snake temple is in front of the Catholic Church.
I think I've seen a video.
Yes. And they were like, you're allowed to go to the church in the morning and come and practice the voodoo, in the afternoon. And that place is normal, right? So why is it like, you also mentioned something like that?
So even though it's frowned upon by the Christian church, there's a particular deity called Kotoklo, where I grew up, and it's a deity that is celebrated annually.
Okay.
And Christians who go to church will also go to this deity and celebrate with practitioners of this deity, and they'll still come back to church.
Okay.
So it was not something that was accepted by the church, but it was the life of traditional Africans that embraces gods from various places. Once it's not really in confrontation with their own gods. So yes, traditional African religion really allows other people to practice their religion and also assimilate other religions as well. And that is why we have Islam and we have Christianity in Africa and it's thriving, is because traditional African religion is very, very hospitable to other faiths. And people who have become Christians find it very difficult divorcing themselves from their roots. And that is how come we have people who are still loyal to their traditional religions and still subscribe to Christianity or even Islam.
Okay. So in your course of studies, right, before Christianity and Islam became common, how was the spirituality or spiritual level, or like how were Ghanaians practicing spirituality?
Yeah, so generally the structure for traditional religions in Africa and specifically in Ghana is that they believe, first of all, in the supreme being. So when you come to Ghana, the Akans will call him Onyami, the supreme being. When you
Okay.
go among the Ewes, they'll call him Se, the supreme being.
Okay.
When you
You
go
call him
Se,
not Mau.
no, Ma means God.
Okay.
But I'm talking about the concept of the supreme being.
Okay.
Yes. When you go among the people of Tenda of Guinea, they will call him Honunga,
Okay.
which basically means the unknown.
Okay.
When you go among the people of the Yoruba, they call him Oludomari,
Okay.
which means the supreme being.
Okay.
And so Africans have different conceptions about who God is, and this idea of the supreme being cuts across almost every traditional society within Africa. Aside the belief in the supreme being, they also believe in the ancestors. And so they believe that though the ancestors are no more physically, they have become spirits and are mediators or intermediaries between the living and the dead. Aside the belief in the ancestors, they also have the lesser spirits who are unlike the supreme being and also unlike the ancestors. And they also have their roles to play specifically in African traditional religion. After that level, they also believe in totems, animals, mountains, trees. That serves as a medium of spiritual function. Then you also have the mystical powers in magic, in sorcery, etc. underneath. Okay. So basically, the traditional conception of religion in Africa has got these levels, and these are the things that unify Africans in religion. And some argue that African religion is monolithic because when you study the traditional religion of the Akan, when you study the traditional religion of the Yoruba, when you study the traditional religion of the Igbo, they all have these levels, these structures, believe in the supreme being, believe in the ancestors, believe in lesser deities, believe in totems, believe in magical powers. So this structure cuts across. And so some have come to categorize African traditional religion as monolithic, as one.
Okay.
But there are other people who also argue otherwise, saying that African traditional religion is not monolithic, it's not one, okay. It's diverse.
Okay.
Because the rituals and the ceremonies that are performed by people are diverse.
Okay.
So when you go deep into Akan traditional religion, when you go deep into Igbo traditional religions, their customs and traditions and practices differ.
Okay.
And so they will argue that African traditional religions are diverse, okay, and not monolithic.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you made mention of magic and sorcery.
Yes.
What's the difference?
Well, there are occultic mediums. There are occultic mediums of what in philosophy is called metaphysics.
Okay.
Where people are able to have access to some form of esoteric knowledge that is not accessible to the normal human being.
Okay.
So these are mediums. These are various kinds of mediums, magic and sorcery. Some have been codified into books.
Okay.
People are able to read. They have their various rituals, and they are able to have access to knowledge that is not applicable to the normal senses.
Wow. Yeah. So, growing up, I know of magic, and sometimes when we practice, sometimes I can put a coin here and do some tricks and then flip the coin, and the coin will be hiding somewhere, and then we'll do it. So I recall, like, that's what I have come to believe that is magic, like trying to play a little tricks to, but from what you are saying, it looks like magic is deeper.
Yes, magic goes beyond the normal tricks we saw in school.
Okay.
Yes, there are rituals that goes into magic. Magic is not limited to tricks. There are rituals that goes into magic. There are rituals that goes into sorcery.
Wow.
But they are not the same thing. They all have their various mediums by which people get this knowledge, okay, that they are supposed to, or do whatever they want to do. Okay. So yes, it's not what we see at school or what we see in town where people perform tricks. But it goes beyond that.
Okay.
And in traditional Africa, these things are part of our belief systems. And people think that sometimes people use these mediums to manipulate their lives, to make their lives better, or to make their lives very difficult.
Okay. Now, I have witnessed certain traditional celebrations and I've seen certain things. Now, if you go to um, Badagry,
Okay,
right,
in Nigeria,
they have something called egungun, like some form of masquerade that it can walk and all that. If you come to Benin, I think they call it Zangbe, Zangbeto or something, yeah. And you see that that thing like a basket tall with some things on it, and then it will be moving and circling around. And sometimes a lot of people say there's someone hiding in it. Others have other perspective about it. Is that magic?
Well, I wouldn't classify that as magic. And again,
So how will you classify that? Magic, sorcery, what?
Well, I think they'll fall under maybe lesser deities.
Okay.
They'll fall under lesser deities. They are not dead. I know masquerades to be human beings that are periodically possessed, okay, by spirits to perform a particular function.
Yes.
Now, the conception of masquerade is also not monolithic.
Okay.
The Egungun of Nigeria, their functions is different from what you've experienced in Benin.
Okay.
We have masquerades in Ghana.
Yes.
And their conception and their function is quite different. Well, in some contexts, masquerades were function as entertainers.
Okay.
Okay. So they are used.
I would like to show you a picture of if I can see the Zangbeto, I wanted to show you a picture of the Zangbeto. You see this one?
Okay.
You see this one?
Okay.
They will turn it upside down and you see there is no one inside, but they put it back down and they touch it and do some incarnation and the thing starts moving.
Yes, so it depends on the rituals. Again, it goes back to the rituals of a particular group of people.
Yeah.
Yes, it's possible. It's possible that there wouldn't be anybody inside. We believe that God is a giver of rain, but we have rainmakers in Africa.
Wow.
We have people who can call down rain.
Really?
And they are called rainmakers. Yes. So it's possible that there wouldn't be someone in there, and as a result of rituals and practices and ceremonies, they can manipulate some of these objects and have, you can see certain things beyond the physical. It's very possible.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So,
but I just want to emphasize that the conception is not the same.
Okay.
The conception of masquerade in Maiduguri or where Badagry is not the same as the conception of masquerade in Benin or maybe in Togo, or is very varied.
Okay.
Though they may share some similarities.
Okay.
And their functions may also
vary. But the other similarity is that the same tribe in Benin is the same tribe in Badagry.
Yoruba.
No. Egun.
Okay, so yes, so the similarity might be there. If it's the same tribe,
yes, then the same tribe. And then when you come to the Volta region and Togo, they are called the Ewes.
Okay.
They are just the same tribe.
Oh,
so they migrated from
Ghana,
like Sado, that side, and then they ended at Badagry. So it's the same tribe. So they perform the same thing, same incantations and all that things.
Oh, okay. If they are from the same tribe, then it's very possible that the ideas may be the same.
Okay.
Yes. But if it's different tribe, then the conception may be different. The functions may also differ.
Okay.
That is what I want you to understand.
All right. Yes. Sure. Now, you made mention of metaphysics, right? And I was a science student in high school.
Okay.
And then I did science in the university, physics and mechanics.
Okay.
And then later on I did IT, right? Software and all that. So I've been hearing of physics. Now in spirituality, we are mentioning metaphysics. What is it?
Well, it's a term, it's a philosophical term That basically means meta in Greek means beyond. So
Okay.
it just means beyond the physical. That's just a conception.
Okay.
Beyond the physical, something that is beyond the physical.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So basically, that is it.
All right.
Yes.
All right. So then again, if we come back to our traditional religion, how did it shape leadership, family, society, and the like? Like, how did it shape it?
What shaped what?
Like the traditional religion
Okay.
before the inception of the Islam and Christianity and others? How did the religion shape our communities in leadership and
Yeah,
other
so
aspects?
African communities are largely communal in nature,
Okay.
where we lay towards the extended family system. And this is a feature, a hallmark that cuts across almost African societies. African societies are communal in nature. So you have maybe the grandfather, the father, uncles, and whatever stay in a particular village or a particular community, and they shared a relationship together. So yes, it really actually affected how we conceptualize family and how we conceptualize leadership. The oldest person is the leader in the family, and the ancestors are not just the departed ones. The very old ones are also called ancestors, even though they may be living. And so the concept of ancestors, which is also a leadership position, is not just those who are dead and gone, but very old people who are still alive can also be classified as ancestors. And they are at the forefront of the leadership position or echelons of power when it comes to conception within the African traditional religion. Then you have the family heads, you have the clan heads, and these are levels of conception within African traditional religion. Yes, it's very important to appreciate that again. The conceptions may be different, even though African traditional people are largely communal. Conceptions between clans, family heads may be different when you go to probably Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania, Ghana, or even Nigeria. But what unifies them is that they are communal in nature and they are able to express fellow feeling and interdependence between one another.
Okay. So now, what about the traditional rulers like the kings, the chiefs, and all that? How did, you know, the same faith, how did they shape that too?
Yes, so we have the conception of traditional leadership also varies from context to context. The traditional conception of leadership among the Akans is different from that of the Gans.
Okay.
Originally, the Gans and the Dangbes were not having chiefs. Okay, they had priests, and these priests were at the forefront of performing their rituals and leading their communities. But as a result of factors like trade, factors like conquest, what you call cultural blending in various forms, some of these traditional systems that have originally were not having kinship systems adopted or borrowed some of these leadership procedures from other tribes and were able to establish theirs. So again, I don't want to argue that traditional African societies help to establish kinship in this particular way because some of the tribes were not even having kings in the first place.
Yeah.
And if you go among the Dangbes who are very close to the Gans, again, they are not having chiefs as well. But today they have chiefs as a result of war, conquest, trade, and other things they have. So yes, it really shaped how people conceptualize leadership, and society keeps evolving. And as it evolved, people learned and borrowed from other cultures and helped them to establish their societies.
Wow. So then again, like you were saying, the guys, they were priests and other things, So now the ancestors, right? Let's say that the living ancestors or the dead ancestors, right? how do they make the younger ones understand the concept of life and death and all that?
Well, so first of all, not every old person qualifies to be an ancestor.
Okay.
You should have led certain life that is worthy of emulation to qualify as an ancestor.
Okay.
And the qualifications of being an ancestor varies from context to context.
Okay.
So what you do to become an ancestor among the Akans or among the Gans or among the Ewes vary.
Okay.
For some people, your hands shouldn't be soiled with blood.
Okay.
For some people, you should be a good person.
Okay.
For some people, you should have led others to war
Okay.
and win wars.
Okay.
So the qualification of who become an ancestor varies from place to place and from context to context on the continent. So yes, the rules are clear in a particular community of who becomes an ancestor.
Okay.
And young people study the living ancestors, and that actually affects the lives of young people because they know that a certain lifestyle wouldn't allow them to qualify as ancestors. And that actually shaped their lives and how they behave in the communities, hoping that one day they'll transition into ancestorhood.
Okay. I want us to enter into the time machine and go ahead of us.
Okay.
We'll come back and continue again. Now, like what you just said, the younger ones look up to like the living ancestors and would like to be like them. But we're also in a different age now that, like, you know, people just look at anybody and, like somebody look at someone on the internet, doesn't even know how the person lives.
Yes, so what we are discussing is more of traditional Africa.
Yes.
And
so I'm trying to make a point, like, and this is the era that we say that maybe spiritually our eyes are open, we know better, and other things. So I just want us to hit there and I will come back again. Like, what do you think would have been the case if today's generation were still having that form of, leadership and religion ahead of us that we were looking at? Do you think things would have been different?
even today, people still look up to people who they think have led exemplary lives. And so that is the concept of role modeling. People look at figures and try to emulate their lifestyle and try to be like them. I have my role models as well. They are here. Most of them are lecturers because I want to be like them. Yes, but we also know that societies do evolve, they change, and Africa is not like it used to be. It's no longer traditional. Yes, there are a lot of influences with the rise, the influence of education, enlightenment, and there are a lot of people who really don't even believe in the concept of ancestorship. They believe that once you are dead, and you have no link with the living. You are just like a dead dog. You have no. So yes, these beliefs.
But do you believe in ancestors?
Well, I do. I do believe in ancestors. From in our house, anytime we meet for family meetings, we pour libation. We are Christians, when we do pour libation anyway. And we call the names. We call the names of our ancestors, and we invite them to come and sit in the meeting and deliberate with us and give us wisdom to help us have a fruitful. So yes, it's something we practice in our church, but we are also Christians.
Okay, in your church?
In our family.
Okay.
Yes, but we are also Christians.
Okay.
Yes, so it's a family thing. I can't say that for other families, but in our family, it's a royal family, and we mention people's name, give them drink, and invite them to come and sit down and help us deliberate on issues.
Okay, so when the Christian, church, and then the Islamic, the mosques, these people came, how do you think they treated the traditional people, the traditional religion?
Well, first of all, those who came, the Europeans who came and tried to describe African traditional religion, first of all, said that Africans had no religion.
Okay.
The is one man called Robert Moffat, who was a missionary in South Africa, and he argued that Satan has removed every vestige of um, um, religious foundation from the mind of the African. So the African has no religion. And he worked among the South Africans in the 19th century. Then there's another one called Leo Frobenius. Leo Frobenius was a German explorer.
Okay.
And before he came to Africa, he said he read in a magazine that before the advent of Islam, Africans had no political organization and by extension, religious orientation. But again, that is also not true.
Okay.
Okay. Then there is A.B. Ellis, who also wrote on the account people of the Gold Coast.
Okay.
And he also thinks that the idea of the supreme God was an importation. It was the Arabs and the Europeans who brought the idea of God into Africa, which is also not true because we have names of the supreme being in our languages even before the advent of the white one. So their conception of African traditional religion was derogatory. They looked down upon, and some even argue that we had no religion in the first place. But that is not the truth. Okay, Africans
what is the truth?
The truth is that Africans had their own religion, and the religion is not monolithic. It's not one. It's diverse. It's cultural specific. They have their rituals, they have their ceremonies, and they have their practices and traditions that shaped their religious lifestyles.
Okay, so when the Europeans came, they discredit whatever they believe.
Yes.
Now,
some even describe it as pagan.
Pagan. Okay.
So, but it's not.
Okay. So do you believe that the Europeans even had a religion in the first place before bringing a religion to us?
Well, if the Christianity was not even a European religion.
Yes.
So Christianity thrived mainly in the Middle East, transitioning, and even it was even in Africa.
It was in Africa.
Yes, it was in Northern Africa, in Ethiopia,
Libya.
Yes, before the Europeans even had it. But for us in Sub-Saharan Africa, we can argue that maybe in the 15th century when the missionaries started coming in, that was when we had contact. But some parts of the continent had Christianity, like you rightfully said.
So would you say that when these people came, everything they've done is to discredit everything that we believe? Because right now, it looks like, as even if you take religion aside, everything African or black is inferior. But the white, like...
Yeah, so they wanted to make a case to impose their civilization on us. Don't forget, Africa, some parts of Africa were highly civilized when Europe was in the Middle Ages and they were living in caves. Places in Egypt and Ethiopia were highly developed. Okay, but in order to make a case to rule us, to govern us, they had to make sure that all the systems, traditional systems that were in place, were jettisoned, were cut somewhere, so that they can make it look like we had no civilization and we are fitting for, civilization by the white one. So they had to make a case. And the case is that you had no religion, you had no systems of knowledge, but we do have systems of knowledge. Our socialization systems were very, very important. Let me tell you, there was a time I went home for a funeral. I was supposed to go on Friday. So I couldn't make it on Friday, and I went there Saturday morning. When I got there, the elders were seated, luckily for me, in our family house. An old man was walking into the house, and I approached him and I asked him, "Oh, Grandpa, I was supposed to come for this funeral yesterday, but I was not able to. So I want you to lead me to greet our elders." And then he asked me to go and buy a schnapp. So I sent someone to buy the schnapp, and he led me in. When he led me in, before we entered, he told me that I should watch as he is doing, so that next time when I come, I'm able to repeat it.
Okay.
So we got there, and he asked for the chief linguist, and he greeted the elders. And he said, "This is our son. He was supposed to come yesterday. For some reason, he wasn't able to come. But this is a token of appreciation and gratitude to those who are already here and have contributed to the funeral up to now." And I felt that was a classic example of how knowledge was transferred. It was
Wow.
through the system of socialized. They do a basket weaver weaves and the son watches.
Yeah.
A kente weaver weaves and the son watches. He takes the son to the farm. He takes his son to see, and as he does, the child watches. So yes, these things are very common in traditional Africa.
Yeah.
But the white man doesn't see it and doesn't consider it to be an appropriate means of transmission of knowledge or civilization.
Okay. So how can before even I even ask you that, so has the blend even helped? Have people been able to blend in or stay authentic, like blend the Christian Islam with our traditional, beliefs, or everybody has choose to be authentic or I'll hide? Like either I'm classified as this or I'm classified as that. Because one of the things that I feel like when I started my exploring, studying our history, so one of the things I feel is that a lot of our culture has been deified. It was supposed to be a culture, like something that is done. For instance, if you take the Homo of the Gans, it was an activity that they were just performing, like because they have bumper harvest and out of anger to hoot hunger and all that. But recent now, it looks like it has been deified, like it looks like it's a god. And then now, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, the point is that again, we can't use one cultural context to justify other African societies. And since we started this conversation, that is what I'm trying to emphasize.
Yeah.
The African societies are diverse. Their practices and their rituals are diverse as well. Okay. But the point is that there is a high level of syncretism. Syncretism is the amalgamation of different faiths.
Okay.
And Africans are highly syncretistic. They'll go to church, but they also some even go to the mosque. There used to be a movement called the Zeta Hill movement.
Okay.
I read and researched a bit about them. They are Christians and Muslims who worship together. They use the Bible and they use the Quran. I don't know if they are still in existence, but I researched about them like 10 years ago. Zeta Hill movement. So then you have people who are traditional Africans who also go to church, or Christians who also go to the shrine. When life gets difficult, they will visit the shrine. So you see that there is a blend, such that you have just few people who are Christians in quotes in purity. It's Muslims who are Muslims in purity, and traditional Africans who are not attached to Islam or Christianity. Just a few, but majority are highly syncretistic.
Wow.
There are pastors who even go to the shrine. You see, there are elders who visit the shrine.
Wow.
There are Muslims who visit the shrine.
Wow.
So it is highly syncretistic in Africa. Very, very highly syncretistic in Africa.
Wow. So do you in your studies, I believe you've also done some research and other things, right? Do you think like people feel comfortable to share about their spirituality openly?
Yeah, there are a lot of people who are very open about their
like
spiritual.
The person will be open that me, I go to church, I go to the shrine, that one, not.
Yeah, cosmetic. So when it comes to syncretism, they are really not open.
Okay.
But they do it undercover. Most people do it undercover. Maybe he's an elder in the church, so he wouldn't like the church to know that he visits a particular shrine. So yes, when I was a bit younger, it was quite open with church members. So we see people going to church and we see people dancing to a particular deity.
Okay.
We saw it.
Okay.
These days, it's no longer so. These days, it's no longer so. It's more undercover when they needed some help.
Wow. Wow. So, when the Asante, the queen mother of Asante died, and they did all the tradition and all that, at a point, I think the Muslims came to pray, and then the Christians also came to pray. The bishop was there and all that. Yes. And they all had like some form of service, and all that. And I mean, on social media and in the airwaves, you could see many people, like some Christians who were angry, some that's like, this is like, traditional, quote unquote. Why are Christians there? Then if you also see that some traditional people are angry that they've diluted the culture by making these
Christians
Christians
and
and other people
Muslims.
to come and, pray. How is the religious tolerance?
Yes, Ghana is highly tolerant when it comes to religions, and it's very important. Some have argued that our system of education actually helped us, how the content of what we study, because when you study religious and moral education, you have aspects of traditional African religion, you have Christianity, and you have Islamic studies in RME.
Yeah.
And so most young Ghanaians grew up studying all these things, and that has toned down our attitude. The attitude are still there, but it has toned down how we perceive some of these faiths. Do you get it? And it's very, very important. So yes, sometimes it's very, very difficult that there are some people who really don't have a clearer understanding of how some of these things should operate. And it's a reason why Ghana has been largely peaceful. People come here and study the peace, just the peace of Ghana. They come and they see that Christians and Muslims are eating. And they go for function and see traditionalists praying, just as you rightfully said. Yes. And it's the level of, but this should be attributed more to traditional African religions because they were custodians of the land and they had to make way for Islam and make way for Christianity to thrive over here. So there's no way you can demonize them when they had been tolerant to Christianity and Islam. We should give the credit rather to traditional African religions.
Okay. So another thing I find common is that the Orthodox churches like the Roman Catholic, the Presby, the Methodist, the Anglican, they are more comfortable moving with the traditional religious people, like culture, they like if you go to their church, they have culture things, and other things, but the Pentecostal, charismatic, and the Baptist.
It's training.
Why?
It's training. It's training. I have been trained as a Presbyterian pastor for 4 years at the seminary.
Okay.
We did African traditional religions. And so our attitude towards people of other faith is different. Until recently, the charismatic and the Pentecostals were not even schoolmen. They don't go to school. They believe in prayer and fasting. And so their attitude towards these people, it's based on their understanding or misconception. It's not everything about African traditional religion that is demonic. Do you get it?
Okay.
Yes. There are elements that are cultural. And these are things we want to emphasize. These are things that can help us progress and unify us as a people. So yes, I believe that the way Orthodox leaders, Christian leaders are trained compared to charismatic and Pentecostals influence their attitude towards how they perceive these. Yes. So like I said, I can go to the shrine. It doesn't mean I believe in the shrine. It doesn't mean, but I can have a good relationship with the priest.
You don't believe in the shrine, but you believe the shrine exists.
Yes, but it does exist.
Okay.
And it's potent. Why do people go there? Because it works for them.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, people will not go there.
So are you a Presbyterian pastor?
Yes. No, I'm not a Presbyterian pastor yet. But I've been trained as a Presbyterian pastor. I've studied theology as a seminary for 4 years.
Okay.
So everything a Presbyterian pastor knows or is supposed to know, I've gone through that.
Are you married?
I've not married yet.
Okay. Would you marry like in the Presby church where they marry just one, since your belief is diverse, or you can choose the African way where it's polygamous?
If I don't go into ordained ministry, I can be polygamous. If I go into ordained ministry, I know the requirements. It will be strictly monogamous.
So if you are polygamous and you have like, let's say 2, 3 wives, will the church bless all your
No, the church believes in monogamy.
Okay.
So if I decide to go into ordained ministry, then it's strictly monogamy.
Okay.
But if as of now, then I can marry 2 or 3 wives. And that is polygamy. And it's not demonic. Good afternoon. It's not demonic. It's the systems. And they have arguments for polygamy. One, the first wife might fall sick. You have the second wife taking care of the house. The first wife might travel for business or trade. You have the second wife or the third wife taking care of the children and the man. The arguments are there for polygamy.
So don't you think that um, this, you know, religion, when they came, they didn't just bring their religion, but they also brought their culture and imposed it on us to just,
Yes, religion is carved in the culture of a particular people.
okay,
So when you study the Old Testament, it's basically Jewish culture.
okay,
Okay, we try to replicate some of these culture in Africa. It doesn't work because we are Africans. First of all, you don't need to be a Jew to become a Christian.
okay,
You can be an African Christian, okay, without taking a Jewish name like Matthew.
okay,
Do you get it?
yeah,
And that I think that God allows and understands that
okay,
people should be genuine with the culture He has given to them.
yeah,
But if you are a Christian, the only element that makes you distinct as a Christian is that you believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior.
okay,
Your name and your culture, yes, there are elements within our culture like human sacrifice. And the Bible says, "Thou shalt not, kill."
okay.
Then you know that is where the
But in
conflict
the
comes.
Bible today, there is some form of
Yeah,
human
there are a lot of
sacrifice.
yes. God will send even people to go and kill a whole
Yeah.
community. He's sovereign.
Yeah.
That is the God of the Bible.
Okay.
Is he the same the God of the traditional
God
Africa? Yes. So again, that is also a domain for argument. People will argue about all these things. So yes, basically.
So do you think that now we've consumed a lot of knowledge about our religion and culture that is shaping us well or is sending us backwards, looking at how the current generation, the ways of life of people and all that pair, even when you compare to when you were younger and then, how things were versus now. Would you think that maybe there is some twat somewhere that, should be corrected or, needs to be worked on or everything is okay?
I think that there should be much education on traditional religions in Africa. The African life is a religious life.
Okay.
So Professor Idowu will say Africans in all things are religious. Whether we are farming, we are traveling, whether we are fishing, whatever we are doing, it's religious in nature. So religion forms the foundation of the African life. Now we have other religions that are considered African religions, like Christianity has become part of us. It's an African religion now.
Okay.
Islam is an African religion now because it has been with us for some centuries now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think that there is a neglect of traditional African religions. And there are people who frown on traditional African religions and they argue that it's backward and retrogressive to development, which I argue against. I was telling you about how the Chinese are not Christians and they are not Muslims, but they have the most advanced when it comes, in the world now, and they have taken over Europe and America and other things. So yes, I think that we should be able to educate our young people to come to terms to appreciate traditional African religions and how we can even gradually modify, and improve some of the elements within these religions and still make it a part of our lives. Okay. From where I come from, there are rituals that are performed for girls. Akans have brago, the Dangbes have dipo, and they frown on some of these things. But if you study the essence, the reasons why these things are done, you see that the ideas are very laudable. It's just to train a young person to become a good woman, a good African woman.
But if you talk about that, what about those who practice the FGM?
So these
as also a cultural right.
Yes. So that is why I'm saying that there are elements within African cultures.
Yes. But for the classification to say that some of the things, don't you think that some of the things were quite cruel and gave way?
I do think so.
And gave way for that form of education to happen. And then
so I do think so. But I'm saying that not every element is bad. That is my argument. Do you get it?
You know that currently this same tradition, there's Trokoti system in Ghana currently.
Yes, one of my grandmother experienced Trokoti system, so I know very well. I know what
It's happening
Chokosi
like
means.
now in 2026.
Well,
There's a
his
there is a place I
has
can take you. I don't want to mention the name.
yes, I know, and I understand. My grandmother experienced one of my grandmothers experienced that. That would be maybe like some 60 or 70 years ago.
Okay.
And according to her, the family had done something and they needed someone, and they are dying in the family, and they needed someone to go and serve at the particular shrine to save the family. And they were 7 daughters. My biological grandmother was the second born, she was the third born. And she was the only virgin among them. They were looking for a virgin. She went to serve for like 7 years, had a son with a priest. Now, in modern Africa, we will start arguing that is it not the ploy of the traditional priest to maybe inflict this particular family with some issue just to have access to one of their beautiful ladies?
Yeah.
Modern Africans will think this way. But in traditional Africa, they were not thinking like that.
Okay.
Okay. So she went to serve there. Some way, somehow, they stopped dying. And she had been like the savior of. And until she died, she felt so bad about that experience. And she kept saying that she's the savior of the family, kept saying it with pain until she died. So I'm saying that there are certain elements that are outmoded, that are backward, that infringes upon the rights, okay, and privileges of other people. Yes. But there are other elements that are very progressive. They are mediums of development, like festivals.
Okay. Yeah.
You see, festivals are mediums of, so you don't demonize festivals because of how it brings people together and how it enhances development. Do you get it?
Yeah.
So I believe that yes, there are elements like Chokosi, like FGM, like human sacrifice that should be a thing of the past.
Okay.
But there are equally elements that can drive development.
Okay. So here's what I want to ask. All the festivals that you know in Ghana, which one is the best festival for you?
Yes.
That you wish, if it was possible, we should all celebrate.
Definitely, I'll say my festival.
Which is?
My festival, my dad is an Akan, my mom is a Dangbe.
Okay.
So when you go to...
So which are you?
Me, so traditionally speaking, I'll be a Dangbe.
Okay.
Because among the Akans, you lean towards your mother's side.
Okay.
Yes. But if I go to Kwewu and they are celebrating, yes.
What part of Kwewu?
In Kwetia.
Kwetia.
Yes.
I went to St. Peter's.
Oh, okay. So if you then you should probably know our people because they are very famous up there. So yes, if they are celebrating maybe Akwesi-Dai at Kwewu, I don't think it's demonic. If they are celebrating Mayim or Klosi Plemi at Kobo, I don't think it's demonic.
Yeah.
And I'll choose those.
So these two festivals.
But I don't think
you didn't choose.
I'll choose Klosi Plemi because I grew up over there.
Okay.
But I've never been to the Kobo Mountain.
Okay.
That is the saddest part.
Maybe one day we should all go
there.
Yeah,
we can go there maybe next year.
Yeah.
So, yes, and it's to celebrate their descent from the Kobo Mountain because the governor at that time felt they were practicing human sacrifice in the mountains. And the reason why they drove them from the mountains to the plains where you have Somanya and Kobodumas and all those places.
Okay.
Yes, and they celebrate and they have their rituals and they do whatever. And I think for me is the best. Okay. Everybody should be able to appreciate their own culture and festivals. And I don't think any festival is better than the other.
Okay.
And that is what they were given to. But that is what their ancestors were able to come out with. Okay. And they should be able to appreciate that as it is.
Okay. So now if you want to say something to, this young generation who are like stereotype. If I'm a Muslim, I stereotype Christians, I stereotype this. If I'm this, I stereotype, those kind of things, right? What would you tell everybody?
Well, I just want to tell them that they should keep what we already have in Ghana. Ghana is highly tolerant when it comes to religions. Once a religion is not chaotic, it does not affect people's lives, we embrace it. That has been not just in Ghana, but in some parts of Africa as well. We know there are challenges when it comes
when the religion is not chaotic.
Yes.
Okay, I can say that, for instance, the Islamic religion in Ghana is different from the one in Nigeria.
Yes, because
Nigeria, they are very chaotic, but in Ghana,
yes,
like,
because of the medium of propagation.
okay,
In Ghana, when Islam started thriving in the 13th and the 14th century, it came as cultural exchange through trade, okay, and commerce
okay,
in gold and kola nuts from the Sahel region to the north.
okay, and slaves.
Yes. Then, yes, and slaves.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go there. Then we also have some people coming from the houses coming from northern Nigeria
Yeah.
to Ghana,
Yeah.
and they blend in very well, coupled with the system of education we've had. So
Okay.
the Ghanaian story when it comes to Islam has been largely peaceful. There are other people who argue that it's because they are a minority. If they are a majority, we are not going to have it easy at all. Well, they might have their reasons. But I think that
I beg to differ because I've traveled every corner in Ghana. I've traveled there. I've traveled outside Ghana, and that I beg to differ. I don't think so because even if you go to the north and they are fight, there's a lot of fight in the north. They are all Muslims, but the fight is all tribalistic, like this tribe
yeah,
and
it's
this
right, but
tribe.
it's not the religion.
It's not the religion.
Yes. So yes, we have been fortunate in Ghana to experience these things.
I think every country, like Nigeria, the Muslim, they should come and learn from Ghana.
No. The means of propagation in Nigeria was different. It was through conquest.
Okay.
So when you force a religion on people and it worked, you would think that by conquering other people, that is how best you can conquer. So that is the Nigerian problem. The Nigerian problem is conquest. The Ghanaian problem is through trade and diplomacy.
Okay.
Do you get it? And that is why Ghana has been largely peaceful. But in Nigeria, it came through Niger through conquest, where they wanted to create a caliphate in Sokoto and other Borno and other places. And over the years, it has been a boiling point. And that is a reason why we studied Islam last semester, and it was so interesting. And you will see that is why Nigeria is boiling, and it's in the mess it is today.
Wow.
It's the means of propagation.
Wow. Wow. I think we'll have to be meeting again, and then we'll take religion by religion and go into it, because now that you were talking about the Islamic and how the propagation and all that is getting interesting. We're also getting to a time that we'll have to also begin to wrap up, and then so that we don't make the episode longer.
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be more on the religion and all that. I'll bring you all. And Mr. Matthews, what do you want to tell everybody, like the people who are watching and all that?
I just want to tell them that
well, the people who are watching, like people who watch my videos, I think about 50 to 60, 70% in the diaspora.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they are also trying to also learn, and a few Ghanaians and other people also watch, But on TikTok, I think majority are Ghanaians. So what do you want to tell everybody about African religion?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to tell them that African religion is not demonic. It's not demonic. There are aspects of African religion that is outdated and outmoded. And I argue that we can eliminate some of these elements and still appreciate the progressive elements within our culture and religion.
Okay.
Like our festivals, our naming ceremonies, our systems of marriage, and our conception of family. These are things that makes us African. And these are things we shouldn't let go. And we should deliberately teach young people. Take them to our hometowns. Let them experience our festivals. Let them not demonize our, religions and our ceremonies because we have become Christians. No. So that is what I want to tell them. They should take their children to their hometowns. There are people who bring their children from abroad to celebrate Depot. It doesn't make them less human, and it doesn't make them lose their supposed Christian or Islamic faith or whatever. So that is what I want to tell them. They should be deliberate about teaching traditional African religions. It doesn't really take, and if they are Christians or they are Muslims, they should be African Christians. But there are equally elements that are mediums of development and drivers of development. And these are things we should embrace. Okay, I believe in the modernization of culture. So yes, we can infuse certain modern aspects of our, into our culture and make it appealing to other people. So yes, also we should teach. We should develop curriculum to teach young people about our culture so that they can have a clearer apprehension of our culture and can continue or should continue with the religious tolerance we've been. Because as people get to understand a particular culture, they tend to be more appreciative and more accommodating to these cultures. So yes, that is what I will leave to my hearings.
Wow. Okay, that's very beautiful. And personally, I've learned, and for me, my take home is getting to understand that the mode of propagation of a religion affects
Yeah.
how, like, it comes to be. For instance, like the same Islam in Ghana are, very calm compared to their brothers in Nigeria who are very aggressive, always slaughtering people, killing people, simply because in Ghana they came through commerce and cultural exchange and all that. So it was a peaceful thing here. Nobody conquered here for or to become, a Muslim. Whilst in Nigeria, they were conquering and all those things. So I think it's about time we begin to learn more about ourselves and understand things. And then, I mean, if you're watching and you now know why you are aggressive, I think then you should start reshaping your mind and then know that it's actually how it started. That's why it's like that. And I know a lot of people have challenges adapting to change, but it starts with a simple step by trying. So see you again. Thank you for staying with